Hi, how's it going? I'm Marlene. Thanks for wandering by. So, welcome to Decan Walk 2023-2024. Today is March 21st, so we're kicking off the Decan Walk with the First Decan of Aries today. But first, I want to kind of give you I'm going to get into that. But first, I want to give you an overview of what we're doing here. Again, to kind of just make sure everybody's on the same page. So, first of all, if you have no idea what I'm talking about right now, then I highly encourage you to go watch my introduction and invitation video that I made. I'll link it in the cards and I'll put it in the description box below so you have an idea of what the heck it is that I'm talking about. I'm going to review it just a little bit here of what is a Decan, what is a Decan Walk. I have some disclaimers. I want to talk a little bit about my approach to this study and practice, and then I'll get into Aries 1 after that. So stick around with me through this whole video so that you can have an idea of what it is that we're doing, and then we'll get into the very first Decan in our journey. Another thing, because I've already said like 80 things. But anyway, I want to thank you all so much because I'm just like stunned and excited by the amount of interest and responses and replies and folks that are excited to join me on this journey. So it's beautiful and wonderful to build community around this practice, and I'm really happy about the response that I've had. It's really, really nice. So thank you all for being here. I really, really makes me happy, feel connected. So I love that. Just a brief description of what it is that we're doing. And you'll get a more in-depth and involved description in my introduction video. But just to let you know, we are doing a Decan Walk, which is I'm following the system of the Decans in Western astrology and their correspondences as laid out by the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. So that, having said that, what is a Decan? Most of you are familiar with the 12 zodiac signs: Aries, Gemini, Taurus, so on and so forth. Ancient astrologers had devised that there are, each zodiac sign is broken into 3 parts that equal around roughly 10 days and 10 degrees. This is a Decan wheel that I Google search for, printed and pasted into a calendar that gives you all the information that you need in order to follow the Decans according to Western astrology and their tarot correspondences according to the Golden Dawn. So it gives you the sign, the ruling planet for that Decan, the time period, and the corresponding tarot card. A Decan Walk is basically, you can do it however you want, but for me, what a Decan Walk is going to be is I'm following those particular 10 days and taking a closer look at the tarot card that it corresponds to, and the astrology, and thinking about it, basically just thinking about it and how it relates to my life. But I'll get more into that in just a moment. So where you can follow along with me, I am going to be making occasional videos here on my channel as I journey through the Decans from March now until March of next year, 2024. March 2023 through March 2024. And I said occasional. I won't be making a dedicated Decan video every 10 days. Just not sure that, I don't want to make that promise and then, not have the bandwidth for it because, life. Anyway, but you can follow along with me through some of the videos that I post, but I will be posting in my community tab posts when the new Decan Day turns over. And I may have some extra stuff for you there, but if you want to follow along specifically with me, make sure to subscribe, if you'd like, so that you can get those notifications and see when the Decan Day turns over. You're more than welcome to just get your own calendar and do it, on your own as well, but love to have you with me, as a lot of you have already, come along. So anyway, that's where you can follow along, one place in my community post. And another place that you can follow along is my friend Dawn Michelle has a Facebook group that many of you are already subscribed to and know about. But for those of you that may not know, it's called Boho Tarot. I'll leave a link to it in the description box below as well. And I'm going to cross post my community tab posts on there so that you're aware of when the Decan Day turns over, and then if there's anything specific that I'm doing, with the energy or practice or whatever it is that I'm doing for that particular 10-day span for the Decan, I will share it, and then we can have more community and discussion there in the Boho Tarot Facebook group. So if you want to join, please do. Okay. So a disclaimer that I want to make about Decan dates. The Decan dates, like I said, I'm following the Western astrology, and I am using, you can see in my last video, I'm mainly using this book by T. Susan Chang called 36 Secrets, and she gives dates. My Decan wheel has specific dates on it as well. It can vary a couple of days in terms of Western astrology. There are other astrological systems that place the dates differently. So you do you. This is what I'm doing, and you're welcome to follow along with me. Sorry, my nose is itchy. Oh my gosh. Sorry. So having said all that about the dates, I believe that even though the Decans are tied to specific dates, the themes, the energies, the learning, the specific, topics, the things that it's bringing up are timeless, and you can engage with those themes and topics and ideas anytime throughout the year. So if you happen to have stumbled upon this video and it's not March 21st, 2023, or between that 10-day span, right? Then that's fine. You can still get something out of this, and I encourage you to stick around and see what that may be. You can consider starting, your own Decan Walk another year, or you can just, hang out and see what we think about that particular planet, sign, tarot card, etc. Because that's what we're doing, just an investigation into those things. I'm sorry about scratching my nose so much. It's allergies. So I think that, this can be approached anytime. That's my particular belief. So don't worry, don't fuss, don't stress out if you've missed days or whatever it may be. I want it to be, because I'm not going to. And we don't need any extra stress in our lives, right? This is a practice for myself. So I'm going to be kind to myself about it, and I want you to be too. Okay. More disclaimers about this practice. I've had folks ask me what they need and what they don't need, what they need to buy and things like that in order to do this. And I just want to make it super crystal clear that you don't have to purchase anything special or extra in order to do this Decan Walk practice. Really, the only thing you need is a tarot deck. So I've got my Waite Smith out here just as an example. This, and in her book, Susan Chang, that's the deck that she's focusing on, your OG Waite Smith, Smith-Waite Tarot. You could use any tarot deck you'd like, okay? Any tarot deck that you'd like. And in terms of the Decans themselves, in order to understand, you can, I recommend you can follow along with me because I'm going to give you those dates. But I highly recommend that you go and print a, find a Google Decan wheel or Decan chart and find one and keep it, somewhere that you can refer back to so that you know the dates, you know the signs and planets, and you know the tarot card that it is associated with. That's really all you need. And then in my other video, I put some other resources that I'm going to be engaging with. You're more than welcome to, to get involved in that as well. But you don't have to. There's no need. There's no need to go buy a bunch of stuff. I just give you some ideas. But if you want to, that's great. Like there's lots of free resources too that I've included. Okay, so that's all you need. Just a tarot deck and a Decan wheel or chart, and boom, you're set. A disclaimer about me. I mentioned this in my last video. I just want you to know that I'm not an astrologer. So I have a very basic knowledge of the signs and the planets. Very basic. So this is a learning practice for me. I am a total nerd and I'm an academic. So I've been in education for many years. I was a teacher. I'm a poet. There's a lot though that I don't know. I don't know, I'm not well versed in Egyptian mythology, Greek mythology. I have, some knowledge of those. Of those stories and things that I've been working with recently. I don't have, I'm not very well versed in the occult or magical practices either. So I just want to make that, clear to everybody so that you know that that's not the particular lens that I'm coming from. I feel most comfortable in the tarot. So far, the Waite-Smith system and the Thoth system. That's my, my main area. Okay, so I just want to make those disclaimers. Also, I want to talk about my approach to the study and practice, and let you know that like I really want to keep this simple, relatively simple. I'm a nerd, like I said, so I get really excited about learning new things, and I do tend to fall down rabbit holes sometimes, and I already have in preparing for this video. Many of you may already have fallen down your own rabbit holes in looking things up already. There's a lot of them to fall down. Like I said, there's different astrological systems to follow. There are mythologies to look into. There, Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology, ancient, astrologers. There's occult stuff. There's magical practices. Ancient astrologers assigned, there were deities and spirits that were linked to these particular decans. And so that's something that I discovered, and I'm already falling down that rabbit hole. And I'm excited about it, about the learning. But like I said, I want to keep this really simple. So I'm not going to get too crazy with all the esoterica. I'm not going to bombard you with all of that. I'm going to try to make it really simple, really clear from my particular, lens and landscape and what I'm seeing and what this means for me. Like I said, I'm coming from a tarot focus. I'm also really interested to see how learning about the decans and the astrological correspondence with each of these minor cards, how that's going to affect the way that I see the meaning of that minor card. And how that affects my tarot practice in general. So that's another approach that I'm interested in. And I just want you to know also that I approach this type of study and practice from a metaphorical and symbolic lens. That is usually how I view things. And that's not to say that I don't also have some spirituality, magic, witchy kind of periphery around my metaphors and symbols. But I just want you to know that, like, I'm not going to be super fussed if I have my dates wrong, or if it's not specific to what's happening in the real sky. And that might be important to some of you. So I just want you to know ahead of time. And that's, fine. Like, I understand, like, I get it. If it's, the real sky, what's happening in the real, in the sky, for me, it's maybe matters, maybe doesn't. So I'm just not going to get fussed about it. And just to let you know, if you have been around on my channel at all, then you'll know that I'm in the process and have been in the process of discovering, like, my own spirituality, kind of reconstructing belief systems and values and things like that. So the approach that I'm taking to this practice is much like I do with my others. It's that I'm trying to kind of suss out what, if any, spiritual significance this has on me in my life. And so this whole thing for me is a study, it's a practice, and it's a journey. And the advice that I can give you as you begin is, depending on what angle you're approaching this from, I highly, encourage you to lean into what you already know, where you're starting from. If that's the tarot, great. If you're already understanding of astrology, great. If you have like a mythology background, whatever it may be, lean into that particular knowledge base, and then you can branch out from there as you see fit. It's real easy to become overwhelmed with all the esoteric stuff that's available. So don't, I'm trying to tell myself not to get too overwhelmed. I want to keep it simple. And that's my advice to you, to keep it simple and follow your heart down the path of what resonates the most for you. Most of this practice is just going to be like thinking and considering what all this stuff means. So far, that's what's been working for me. So now, having given you all those disclaimers, all that preface, and all that background, let's talk about the first decan of Aries, Aries 1, which runs from March 21st through March 20th in Western astrology. And according to the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, this decan is associated with the Two of Wands. And so I've brought out the Waite-Smith as my example because it's the one probably most of us are familiar with. So in the Two of Wands, that decan has a astrological sign, Aries, that it corresponds to, and that particular decan has its own ruling planet, which is Mars. So in some tarot decks, you'll see the astrological glyphs, Mars in Aries. And so in the tarot, every single sign, zodiac sign, and every single planet also has a corresponding major arcana card. So the Two of Wands is our decan card, Mars and Aries, and the corresponding majors that go with this particular card. Mars is the Tower, and Aries is the Emperor. So we'll be seeing the Emperor again as we go through the decan of Aries, or as we go through the zodiac sign of Aries with the two other decans. So we have this is how I think of them, right? So we have your decan card in the middle, and then the ruling planet for that decan is Mars, and the sign is Aries, and that's who the Emperor goes with, okay? So the work that we're doing is with for me, the work that I'm doing is with these particular 3 cards. What do I know so far? So Mars and Aries are, I mean, it's a lot of really intense energy, the same kind of energy. Mars is the Roman god of war. Aries is the Greek god of war. They are the sign of Aries is ruled by Mars also. So you have the Decan ruled by Mars, okay? And then you also have this energy again because the planet is ruled by Mars. So it's like a lot of this really intense energy for me that has to do with power, control. The Hermetic title of this card is the Lord of Dominion. So it has to do with what you have, what's your domain, what you have control over. So other themes, before I get into themes further, let's talk about some more related cards. So you can look at this through the lens of these 2 cards, Mars and Aries. You can also take a look at all the 2s. So you can take out all the other 2s in your deck and take a look at how they correspond to one another and what the 2s mean. In her book, Susan Chang goes into this specifically. And I, read it and made notes and things like that. Another related card, I didn't grab this one, but I'm going to find it real quick. Another related card, because the 2 of Wands is, the wand suit is fire. The zodiac sign is a fire sign. It is cardinal fire. So the card in the tarot deck that stands for elemental fire is the Judgment card. So that's another related card that you can work with alongside these. For my part, the ones that stuck out to me the most in order to kind of work with the energy and understand the themes of this next 10 days are these 2. I read from Susan Chang's book. I read from the Sun's Paces book, which is the hymns that has a poem. Susan Chang also includes a poem, which is like, just makes my heart super happy as well. So I studied that. And then all of this coming together really just made me think about these particular themes that stood out to me. So dominion, control, rulership, preparedness, making plans, the beginning of something, the beginning of a project, starting something. This is, very traditional ways we understand the 2 of Wands itself. Personal power and ownership. And then alongside, these really powerful cards, deconstruction, shaking things up, a complete loss of deconstructing of the ego, right? Versus order amongst the chaos, control, and things like that are things that I was thinking of. And so on a very basic, simple level for me, what this Decan energy feels like and what kinds of questions that I want to attune to and ask myself is, where do I feel powerless and powerful in my own life? What do I have control over? What am I working towards, preparing for, looking to do? What does this mean to me in my own life, in my own personal path? I often feel like, and I struggle with in day-to-day life, what I have dominion over and what I do not, like what I have control over, what I can affect, what I can change, and what is out of my hands. And I have responsibilities and, work and family life and things like that, that I get tripped up along the way often of, what is within my control, and am I trying to dominate things too much and micromanage, or am I, feeling helpless in places where I don't necessarily need to feel powerless and helpless, that I do have power, that I do have control? Do I have people in my life that are lording over me in a way I shouldn't allow them to? Or am I, doing that to other people myself? What is within my power? What is within my control? And the energy of this Decan feels 100% tied to those ideas for me. And so how I want to engage is I want to ask myself those questions, journal about that, and also I want to do a tarot reading specifically using these 3 cards. And I want to think more deeply about what is up to me, what is not up to me in this moment in time. Perhaps I would, think about this again in the future when I need to, but at this moment in time, that's where I want to engage with this particular Decan energy. We may feel, a lot of what I've read and a lot of what I think astrologers are working with is how this energy that's around us is affecting our day-to-day lives. And I'm sort of looking at it and then like kind of coming from, within. But however you want to approach it is totally up to you. What I want to do, like actively do, is a tarot reading, and also just a lot of time considering what power and control mean for me, who I am, for my particular identity in my own life. And that's what I'm sharing with you. I created a tarot spread for myself that I'm sharing with you. I'm gonna give you the link to the free PDF so that you can check out that tarot spread that is specific to Aries 1 and these themes of power, control, dominion, and what, where in our lives do we feel this kind of energy. So what the particular tarot spread asks of you is, now you can use any single tarot deck that you would like, and you can use a second deck if you want to, or you can just stick to one deck. So I'm just showing you the Waite Smith here to start with, and then I'll show you what the spread looks like as well. Just so you know, what you're going to do is you're going to take out the Tower and the 2 of Wands and the Emperor, and these are going to be your top 3. And then below those 3 cards, like I said, you can shuffle the same deck and pull 3 cards to go underneath each of these spots with that same deck. You can pull another tarot deck out if you want to. Or you can even use Oracle or playing cards or whatever it is that you use. All right. So for the position number 1 under the Tower, the question is, what needs to be deconstructed and rebuilt? And then the spread position underneath the 2 of Wands is, how can I start that process? And then under the Emperor, the spread position question is, what is within my domain? So those are the 3 spots, right? Spread positions for you to engage with in a tarot spread with these particular cards based on the Decan and Mars in Aries. And that's what I'm going to be doing. And you have from March 21st to March 30th to investigate more. You can take a look at, you can do this tarot spread. You can read, you can read up from Susan Chang's book. I also will post a link to Susan Chang's blog where she has a lot of this information as well. I've read the poem and I've been looking into what the meaning of the poem is that Susan Chang includes in her book. In this book, 36 Hymns, or The Sun's Paces, there's a poem as well that I looked into. I went and just Wikipedia'd to read more about the god of war, Mars and Aries, and found out more about the Egyptian deity that is connected to this particular Decan. And I'm just weaving together all of those themes and my particular tarot reading to kind of, to engage with this energy and ask for some guidance across these 10 days in what is within my own personal domain. This really feels like that's the major theme, and there's a lot of intensity around this, because Aries is the first sign, the I am statement. It's very fiery, it's very action driven. So you may be feeling that type of energy around this time as well. I'd love to hear how you're feeling, what you're doing, what you're working with. Please share that with me here in the comments below. Would love for you to also engage and share in the Boho Tarot group. Post your reading, talk about, what this energy feels like, what you've learned. Would love to hear all about it from you. But yeah, so that's how it's panning out, or how I'm beginning the Decan Walk with the first Decan of Aries. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed that. I hope that you embark upon this journey in a way that works and resonates for you. And I thank you so much for sticking around with me. And I hope that you all have a beautiful, wonderful day and a beautiful, wonderful first Decan of Aries.